Greetings, Rummies, and welcome to Rum Rum, the channel sharing the joy of sim racing. We are today at the most unrelaxing spa there is in Spa-Francorchamps with the ASRC on their second to last race. And I say we because, of course, with me is the man with a voice of 1,000 angles. Cody, how are you?
I am so happy today because this is my favorite track. It is a track that needs no introduction. I am apparently an angular man who needs no introduction. You're having fun with that one, aren't you?
Yep.
Aren't you,
Absolutely. Absolutely. What's life without fun?
Absolutely. Anyways, yes, yeah, we are here at Spa in the rain, so it's a wet sauna.
Yeah, which is the worst kind of sauna there is. I mean, I don't like saunas at all. Don't tell SimuCube. So a wet sauna is even more of a bad thing for me.
Y'all are all naked in your saunas, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And saunas here
in America.
and saunas here are mixed normally. There are some saunas that are not. There are specifically not, but in general saunas are mixed.
All right. Okay. Wow.
People don't care a bit.
Gotcha.
And so hot as it is, there would not be an opportunity to do anything because
yes, I understand the mechanics of that.
and the physics and the biology and whatever. Yes. So this is the second to last race. Next week we're gonna see the last race of the ASRC driving on DTM cars, based on a mod by URD. And today, as I said at Spa, this is the only track of the whole series that is a DLC track. All others were mods, but this one is an official track by Studio 397. So there's that. What else? Yeah, for anybody who is listening in for the first time, we're gonna see two races after qualifying, which is ongoing at the moment. We're gonna see two races, one 20 minutes, one 40 minutes, the 20 minutes one with no obligatory pit stop, the 40 minutes one with one obligatory pit stop. And depending on how especially the first round goes, we may see non-obligatory pit stops because, yikes, we've seen that already with people having to take a pit stop early because the first corner was not friendly to them.
Well, if you're a sim racer, you know Spa, and so I think we're not going to have any trouble. Of course, all these guys know all the tracks they've been driving. They're professionals, of course. But this is going to be one that every sim racer knows and loves. I would say, you either love it or you hate it, but I don't know anyone who hates Spa. At worst, you feel indifferent towards it. But it is a track that is just, gosh, I'm going to gush over it the whole time because it's so much fun.
I think the only people who hate Spa are those who consider it to be too long. Which for me is not a negative in Spa. I mean, it's
yeah. Do you have the memory of a goldfish? Like,
yeah.
Do you not know how to memorize a 3-minute track or 2-minute track?
I mean, imagine those people on Notchlife.
Targa Florio.
Yeah. Mille Miglia, if we are at that. But yeah. No, for some people is like we're gonna see an introductory lap here, and it's gonna be boring as heck because, of course, when you're racing, it takes 2 minutes and a bit, but when you're just driving slow, it takes a little bit more, and it's like, yeah, okay, are we starting the race? No. But on the other hand, yeah, I like that. I think that Eau Rouge is one of the most wonderful corners in the world, one of the most horrible and the most wonderful corners in the world, or corner collection. And I hope that at sometime in the future, hopefully in the near future, I'm gonna be able to drive in Spa with a racing car or something like that. For a while they had some courses there, and I wanted to book one, but they cost an arm and a leg, more than iRacing even. So I think it was 3,000 euro for a weekend, and 3,000 euro is not something that you can raise rapidly. And now they don't have these courses. Now that I would have 3,000 euro at the site for that, yeah, because taking a GT3 or a GT4, I don't need to be now, and something like a DTM Class 1 or something like that, taking a race car through Eau Rouge, I imagine is something different, because the G's work on you from all directions. So yeah, I do understand how lovely Spa is. I love La Source, which normally is the first corner, because if you get it right, it's fantastic, and you can skim a tenth of a second. If you get it wrong, you can get it so wrong and finish your race exactly there. Not fun. It's not my favorite track, because there's other tracks that I like more, but is a track that is nice, that is good to drive. It's fun to drive. So I very much understand why it would be your favorite.
Yeah, especially because I like some cars with a little bit of downforce to them as well, and so just being able to take Eau Rouge flat out, and the exhilaration you feel when you get it right, like properly right, is really unmatched by anything else. But then also, like, just the rest of the circuit just flows so well. It is without flaw,
Yeah.
in my opinion.
Yeah. And less than 20 seconds until the end of qualifying. Oh! And Van Leuven makes a new fastest time. And Krustalev makes another. Yeah. We're seeing the classic just at the end of qualifying. Bam. People doing, and yeah, Krustalev seems to be the one. Let me check. No,
that turned into a very exciting qualifying.
Yeah. So, well, we have everybody on track still, and they still can make good of their time. So let's see what happens. We still have a lot of drivers on track. Whoop. We still have a lot of drivers on track, and as I am saying, Ryatsev makes pole. It's not gonna be a pole for the 20-minute race, because if this is the first time that you are listening in, the first race is for places 1 to 10 with a reverse grid. So if you made pole on qualifying for the first race, you are going to be on 10th position, which makes for very interesting races. Whoop! And Krustalev just disappeared into nothingness, as did everyone else. All right, so all right, so while we are on warm-up, let me show you where we are. Ryatsev made the fastest time. Krustalev the second, both on Alpa Racing. Seifert and Van Leuven did third and fourth. Van Leuven losing the pole position quite fast just at the end. Thiago Monteiro, Benjamin Reinhardt, Pavel Ivashkin, and Rui Santos make places 5 to 8. And Suvic, Beaulieu, Lopez Garcia, and Paparinopoulos places 9 to 12. And we have 21 drivers on grid. Okay, now it's 19. What is happening? No, 21 drivers on grid. Let's see where we are at the end of the race. As I said, this is the second to last race. So let me show you where we are with the driver standings. Ryatsev is on first overall after Norsing, with Seifert on second, Krustalev on third. And something strange happened here. My R Factor 2 is reloading Spa. Is that happening to you too?
Mine as well, yes. Yeah,
Okay,
that's
so
happening to me as well.
So something happened with the server. So Ryatsev, Seifert, Krustalev, Paparinopoulos, and Monteiro are places 1 to 5 overall, with the team standings being Alpa Racing Team, Arion Sim Racing Team, Rook Racing, and Optiminal Esports, and Origin Racing in the places 1 to 5. And excuse me, but we have to do some technical thingies here because the server restarted, as we were saying. So you're gonna have an image as soon as we have an image, because I have to restart a couple of things here. And server is on qualifying once again. I fear that something happened there that is gonna force the qualifying again. Let me find out. I don't know at the moment where we are. I'll try to find out what's happened.
This is where we would play hold music. Or elevator music. Do 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 do.
Yeah, especially, I know there's a couple of drivers who are now out. I don't know if they're just out saying, well, either this is qualifying or I have to, or I want to warm up. Whatever happens, happens, but would be not good. Let me find it. Trying to find out if the quali is gonna be repeated or what happens. Race control is gonna tell you.
And we will forward you guys that information as soon as we get it.
So there is the quali is gonna be done once again, but only one lap for each driver. Gonna be a short, we hope, qualifying. So, and that's not a good lap. I know he's in lap. Well, things happen.
Well, so much for that really exciting last moment quali sweep of 1-2 that we had. We no longer have that.
Didn't know
Which
that
is,
commentator curse also works for race control.
the race control curse.
Yeah. Oh, this was an exciting qualifying. BAP server messes up and we do the qualifying all again. Whoa, commentator curse for qualifying. That's anyway. Okay, so if it takes 10 minutes, it takes 10 minutes. So the qualifying time stays.
Okay.
What did I know? I did want. Yeah, what many of the drivers are saying is that they're gonna wait until the last minute because the track is gonna be the driest there. Yeah.
Suppose that's a decent strat. As long as you're not waiting until the absolute final minute.
Because then you have a problem, yeah.
Yeah, you don't have a full lap, just an outlet.
So while we are re-watching the qualifying, or no, watching the second qualifying, whatever you want to say it, next week we're gonna be at Hockenheimring, which historically was the last race that DTM did. They started at Hockenheim and ended at Hockenheim. It was a tradition by DTM.
Although I learned recently that in 2010 they finished their season in Shanghai, not at the Formula One track there, but at a street circuit that was built for that race in particular.
The infamous Shanghai race. Infamous because a cover for the canalization got sucked up and ended the race of who was the guy that drove the Formula One pace car for a long time?
I have no idea.
He was a German ex-DTM driver, and that was the one whose car got utterly destroyed, similar to what happened in Las Vegas. So when that happened in Las Vegas, many people were thinking, at least in Germany, at least the DTM fans were thinking about Shanghai 2010, because that got sucked up and made a boom on the car, and the car flew a couple of meters up. And I'm sure that there is more than enough images on YouTube. That. So scary. So you can imagine it was the only time that DTM raced on Shanghai.
You can now drive that circuit in Assetto Corsa. I saw, I think a few months ago, it got added by a very talented modder. I think Shin. I think it was Shin 986, if I remember correctly. It's something like that. It's either Shin or Rainmaker, one of those two.
Oh, Rainmaker! But I thought Rainmaker had stopped doing mods. So.
Oh, he picked it back up again.
Ah, cool. Cool. Rainmaker AC mods were always incredibly good. And Shin 96 is also very, very good.
Yeah, they both do a lot of conversions. Say again?
No, I was just thinking today in the news we had the news about Assetto Corsa Evo roaming, and it just occurred to me. I didn't comment it on the news that we haven't heard a bit about mods since the Sim Racing Expo, where they got asked explicitly, and they answered like, yeah, but not in during the early access, blah blah blah. So it was all quite fuzzy.
Nebulous, yeah. It sounds like there will be, but it
Yeah,
might have a
I
tighter
think that
rein.
they're still trying to find out how to do it, and it sounds as if they want to make it similar to what seems to be what Rennsport wants to do. Yeah, I know everything is very nebulous, but if people don't come up with direct answers to direct questions, it's always very difficult. We have to check the tea leaves. So Seraphim got disqualified from the qualifying.
Uh-oh.
I'm not gonna be happy about it.
Now, is that a disqualification from the whole shebang, or is that a disqualification and then you start at the back? We'll find out.
I'd say he'll start at the back, and it's not a complete disqualification, but I may be completely and utterly wrong. Because that's one part of the rules that I did not take a look at. So,
Benjamin
qualifying has
Reinhardt.
ended.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, qualifying has ended, and the way it looks like, it's, as you were saying, Reinhardt, the one who made the pole this time, although we still have a couple of people on track, like Ryatsev, who is not moving. Exactly, that's the one that we're showing. Who else do we have?
Pablo Lopez Garcia is making his final lap.
Van Leuven went out. I don't think that that's gonna be allowed. Yeah, go. Seems to be a last lap. And now makes 15th. Leuven still in what could be a fast lap. Although his times have not been fastest of them all. And well, not bad. He makes 7th place. Not optimal. He would have preferred to keep the place that he had on the other qualifying, which was 4th, but hey. We have a different Starting row with Reinhard, Seifert, Walter, Ryatsev, Optiminal, Rook, and Alpa Racing. Then Krustalev, Knox, Van Leuven, Ivashkin from Alpa, Dalma, Optiminal, and LP Racing. And Lapa, Shelomanov, Monteiro, and Paparinopoulos. All names that we have already heard at other points in time. So they are no surprise. But in a different configuration as they were after the, let's call it, first warm up. Oh, my cats are nervous because they want to go out, but outside it's cold and raining, so they spent about 5 minutes out and then they said, no, you know what, I'm coming back. But now they are like, I want to go out, but out is cold. Can you make it warm and dry outside so that I can go out? No, I can't. The cat of a friend of mine, long time ago, wanted to go out in the garden and it was raining. And the cat goes to the front door and looks at her saying, okay, open this door. I'm sure that it won't be raining here too. He said she was laughing hysterically because the logic was wonderful. It just didn't fit with reality.
That's really fun.
Oh! Rum, the only sim racing channel with cat content. No, it's not true. Who is it? Lawrence de Soswa also has his cat often on screen. I've seen many pictures of cats sleeping on the cockpit and the sim racers saying, sorry, can't race today, my place is taken. These were one of my cats lost. Two and a half minutes to go. Then we will have about 1.5 minutes until the server gets correctly an introductory lap, which is gonna be longer than normal, as I was saying, because this is Spa. Do they do those? Ah, yeah, they do those for Nordschleife, but the introductory lap for the Nordschleife is just the Nürburgring track, the GP track. At least that's been in WTC. That's been the case in WTCR and in it's the other one with what's the one with the 24 hours?
Which one?
There's the 24 hours of Nürburgring, which is Nordschleife, but which series is running that one? SRO, right?
I think so. Just a minute.
Because it's not the WEC. I found himself up. Less than 1 minute.
All right, I'm back. Sorry about that. 'Tis the season to receive knocks on the door with packages that you have to sign for.
I always forget that in the USA people even work on Sundays.
Yeah, deliveries happen all the time unless it's USPS. USPS doesn't work on Sundays.
Because here in Germany, only emergency and enormously needed people, well, yeah, radio and TV, work on Sundays.
Just about anything salaried doesn't work weekends, but a lot of hourly work is done for as many hours as there are in the day, and there are people to take up shifts. People will do it.
Yeah, I remember when working in TV. The week that you were on, you also worked on Saturday. Long time ago. But at least then we could take those 2 days of the weekend, we could take them as free days directly after. Alright, warm-up has ended. The race will start soon enough. A little bit later than is usual. Because of the whole complications.
Non-essential personnel leave the grid now.
And the drivers are setting themselves up on the start. Which, not like normal GT3 races, is on the side before La Source.
Yep, typically they would start on the downhill approaching Radiano Rouge, but
Yep.
F1 starts you back further, and I think some other series as well.
Well, DTM, as so this is correct.
well,
to
there you go.
DTM. DTM did start there.
Uh-huh.
I would have to look it up. They did not race in Spa every season. They raced in Spa a couple of seasons, but I would have to look up exactly which season it was. I don't have it present at the moment.
So the reason they did that was to make it FAA Grade 1 compliant. I'll talk more about that here in a moment. About to go racing for 20 minutes. Actually, I forget. Yeah, we'll have a whole outlap. So I'm going to talk about this.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
get to.
You have a lot. You have a lot of time for that.
I sure do. Yeah, yeah. I forgot all about that. Yeah, duh. So yeah, the FAA Grade 1 rules, latest ones, this was a while ago now. They've shifted a little bit over the years to account for new safety and track design standards. But one of the things is the first corner has to be like a kind of a hard corner. It can't be just a sloping, gentle corner to start off the race. So after the start line, you have to have at least a 90-degree bend, I think it is.
Mm-hmm.
And if you look at FIA Grade 1 tracks that Formula 1 races on, this is the case for pretty much all of them, except I think Monaco, and Monaco actually, no, Monaco does have that. That's why they made that kind of bump out to make that corner sharper than, make turn 1 of Monaco sharper than usual.
Although it's not 90 degrees. But yeah.
It's not quite 90 degrees, but it does need to be like a sharp corner. I can't remember exactly.
Maybe
actually,
the rules
it's not
say
fully published.
90 degree-ish.
I don't even know if the rules say 90 degrees, but pretty much everything is around that. It's got to be it can't be a super obtuse angle to begin the race. And Radiano Rouge is in a Formula 1 car flat out. So in order to stay FIA Grade 1 compliant, they had to move the start-finish straight back before the final corner, which I think is what, La Source? Is that the name of that one?
Yep.
Yeah, La Source. So they moved it back, turned La Source into turn 1, and then there's your sharp angle corner to start the race. Why that's the case? Ask the FIA.
So that it's more interesting for the cameras?
I suppose.
You know that the drivers get fined for every swear word that they say.
Oh yeah, that may be coming to esports as well, to FIA esports. We'll see.
Now imagine if you're wearing rings while doing esports. Fine you too.
All right, here we are coming to the start line. See a lot of weaving going on as these guys are trying to warm up their tires. We saw some rain early in qualifying, but the track looks to be dry now.
Let's see if it stays.
We'll see, yeah. Anything can happen.
And you see Stepanenko in pits. That's because he is race control, so don't count on him. Let's run. And we go racing. Green, green, green. Shelomanov has not a good start. Lapa takes the place. Van Leuven, Ivashkin.
Oh, with a touch on Ivashkin there around La Source. And Roy Seifert and Thiago Montero, they go into the wall.
Oh,
Yellow
no.
flag is out. Oh, yep.
Ah.
That's a big hit for them. But we continue on. We are green through this
Whoa.
sector, so uh-oh.
There was a car taking Eau Rouge the wrong way, but he survived. And Van Leuven is trying to take... He goes on the inside and... No, does not take the position, but he's trying to contend that first position from Lapa.
A whole lot of argy-bargy going on here in the first lap as we come down around the yellow flag in still Sector 1. We're into Sector 2 now. But the action continues. In our Factor 2, a lot of times the yellow flags are really just warnings that there's something going on around here. Because you can see it's really not slowing anybody down. But Thiago Lapa, Van Leuven, Ivashkin, 1, 2, and 3 as we come through into, is going to be the beginning of Sector 3 here. Roy Seifert from that turn 1 crash has retired from the race.
Yes.
Thiago Montero, also involved in that collision, has started to catch up to the grid. He's about 10 seconds back from the leaders.
What's going on here? Because we are about to finish at the first round. And Van Leuven trying to find a way around Lapa. For now, not. enter the second lap of the race with Lapa, Van Leuven, Riatsev, Ivashkin, Walter, and Reinhardt in places 1 to 5. I get the feeling that these races between Lapa and Van Leuven are not going to stay the whole time. Somehow.
The drivers have found mostly single file ways to go through Radiano Rouge. Not entirely as we look towards the mid-pack, but we are definitely seeing some tight action here as we come around into the new lap. Fabian Walter, really mistaking that that braking zone. Collision there also took out Roman Ryabtsev. It sends him to the back of the grid.
Once again, that's gonna be an end of the race for Walter. That was
Khrushchev
a
also heavily involved in that one, and Khrushchev has retired. Oh man. Fabian Walter does get going again, right ahead of Ryabtsev. Shalomonov had an off in the following corner, and it looks like he's really struggling. His car is stopped off track, and Shalomonov is a retirement. I think he got caught up and picked up more damage than he ended up thinking.
And Lapa loses control of his car for a slight moment, and of course Van Leuven takes the first position.
Well, when you're racing like that, any slight mistake can result in a change of position, and we can definitely see that where Lapa, who's driven so well in these opening laps, just one small falter and Van Leuven is right there. It is a game of perfection and a game of inches, millimeters. Sorry.
That's what she said. But Lapa stays near enough to Van Leuven that any issue that Van Leuven has, Lapa is gonna be in the power. Behind them, things have gotten a little bit calmer, but only a little bit, because we have a competition for 7th position. Zenkov, Sarika, Zagarpia, and so on, who are now taken au rouge.
Pavel Ivashkin trying to hold off Benjamin Reinhardt in 3rd place. Has set the fastest lap of the race. Of course, 5 minutes in, very subject to change, but you can really see he's got some space in between him and 2nd place Thiago Lapa, and so with that amount of space and nobody to fight with, he is definitely putting in the laps on what's a fairly clean track for him right now.
And by the way, Seraphim in pit.
Oh, a big spin. That is, oh gosh, that was Hollistel? No, Maxime Beaulieu. Yeah. Ended up at No Name Corner, going off, not turning when he should turn, and off into the wall, and comes out of that shuffle down in 18th place. Not where you want to be.
Meanwhile, in the middle pack, 8, 9, 10, and 11 battling for position, or at least near enough that they could be battling for position. To take different lines to get the better exit. It seems to be darker and darker. Seraphim DNFs. It seems to get darker and darker on track because they all have their lights on.
Yeah, we haven't seen any rainfall quite yet in the race. There was some in early qualifying. It was a wet track. but it seems to be drying so far.
Reinhardt made a very clean pass on Seraphim or Ivashkin, but it looked as if Ivashkin was giving up that place easily, or at least not fighting too much. But he keeps really near him, so it can change a lot. Meanwhile, we go back to 8th place. Because Monteiro wanted to go on the inside. Overtake. We have a yellow. Don't know. At the front, Van Leuven is already 1 second and change away from Napa. Sovik also DNS. A lot of DNS. To get inside line, but he cannot take that one.
And your leader, Sander Van Leuven, sets the new fastest lap of the race, set a 2-minute 8.015, which is a real show of pace, because that is a second faster than anybody else's best except for Benjamin Reinhardt.
Who is on third?
But Reinhardt and Van Leuven are the only drivers who, in the race, have been able to set sub 2-minute 9-second times. Most drivers averaging around 2-minute 10 and some change. Vladislav Zinkov having the best race so far this championship. He has been plagued by a ton of gremlins, a bunch of first lap crashes, a bunch of early outs, technical issues this championship season. But right now, he is running in 8th place, trying to fend off Thiago Monteiro. I mean, fingers crossed, knock on wood, commentators curse, all that, but I'm sure he will be happy if he can just finish a race this season.
Do that. Monteiro trying to find a way around him, left, right, left.
And you can see there's a big line of cars that's kind of bunched up. 8th through 12th, all bunched up tight there, ready to pounce on any mistake that Vladislav Zinkov makes. I think Monteiro, as we've seen, has the pace, and he looks alongside him. Got a very, very good run off of that corner, and Zinkov is able to close the door. Ruiz Santos gets past Matthew Maple right behind him, though.
Because Maple went a little bit wide. Lost a little bit of control. At the moment, here's where the most action is. Monteiro trying to find a way around. Don't try to overtake on Eau Rouge. Don't.
He might be trying to overtake on Eau Rouge, or at least set him up. Monteiro, I think, definitely was faster through there than Zinkov was, and I think gave him a bit of a bump draft through Eau Rouge, which I don't. I would find a little bit unsettling if I'm Zinkov. Monteiro and Zinkov get into it, and Monteiro with a very, very rough pass. That was not like we saw with the Reinhard Ivashkin pass through the same corner. That was about as rough as you can do it without, I think, inviting the stewards.
And Santos also not being exceedingly nice.
Yeah, Santos also slamming the door on Ryabtsev, sending him off a couple of tires into the dirt in the braking zone there, which can be very dangerous. But yeah, I think the the Origin liveried cars are they've got their elbows out today. That's for sure. I can understand, you know, if they're feeling like Zenkov is holding them back, which from lap times seemed to be the case. But yeah, you you can't just shove the guy out of the way. That's for sure.
Yeah. Even in DTM times, in Class 1 DTM times, which was rough and was a contact sport, that would be a little bit too rough. Although the way that Monteiro made that overtake would have been a bit over the line, but not something to write home about.
Yeah, it's warning territory for me
Yeah.
as a race steward. You do it again, and then we start looking at issues to do with start stops and drive-throughs. But Monteiro, now that he is through, is really making some waves. He's 2 seconds ahead.
But Zenkov doesn't care and stays in front of Santos.
If he can race him, then that's just fine.
Right.
Side note: Fabian Walter comes into the pits probably to repair some damage from Argy Bargy. Rui Santos taking the driving line. He's alongside Zenkov. Zenkov down with a very defensive line. Who's braking better? Rui Santos makes a bit of a clean pass. Zenkov kind of gets back into him. And Santos decisively takes that position.
But it was not as bad as Monteiro.
No, nowhere near. That's more what we see. Maxime Below gets very loose in the corner there. That's one of those things where you cut in a little bit too much. You hit those rumble strips. There's nowhere near as much grip on those, and if you're trying to apply the throttle and you go over those, you can get a little bit slidey. That's exactly what we saw.
We keep watching Zenkov battling now against Ryabtsev.
And you see all those drivers lined up like they're. It's like in an action movie whenever your protagonist is fighting a whole bunch of henchmen, and they all, for some reason, just wait their turn one by one to go up against the protagonist. Unfortunately, Zenkov has not won his protagonist battles against these guys, but it is interesting to see. They're all in a line taking turns to try to pass Zenkov. And if they get past him, they seem to have the pace to keep going. Rui Santos is on his way out, but we're seeing some real fighting going on as Below is trying to pass Matthew Maple for 12th place, and it looks like he's gonna do it. But yeah, DTM is a contact sport. These guys are proving it.
Absolutely.
They are side by side. Oh boy, Bolo takes it. Matthew Maple falls in line right behind before Rouge Radion, but they got real close. And then now that they're past it, we're seeing another side by side kind of vibe here as Matthew Maple tries to look and tries to get the speed on Bolo. Didn't quite have it, and Bolo stays ahead.
And Zenkov still in front of Ryabtsev.
Yeah, Ryabtsev trying to get on the inside to outbrake Zenkov. Zenkov taking the defensive line. Ryabtsev having to get onto the brakes earlier to avoid. Zenkov getting loose there. Ryabtsev with the better line. Can Ryabtsev take it? Zenkov is blocking. He's not like weaving all over, but he's definitely taking his racing line with some liberty to keep Ryabtsev behind him. And as these guys continue to battle it out, we've only got 3 minutes left in this race. Van Leuven maintains his lead 2 seconds ahead of Thiago Lapa. That was a 4-second gap to Reinhardt. We saw that gap open up really, really early on in this race, probably by the end of lap 1. We started to see that gap forming, and it's only widened. Reinhardt and Ivashkin have some distance in between them as well. Ivashkin sitting in 4th, and Papadopoulos is the closest battle that we have in the top 5. He's a little under, or around about 2 seconds away from Ivashkin. But all of the action so far has been Vladislav Zinkov holding on to, at this point, a top 10 finish, trying to do his very best. There's 16 cars on the grid, or on track right now. We've had several DNFs for such a short sprint race, and a lot of that had to do with the damage sustained at the very beginning of the race, where there was a lot of contact. But of the drivers who were able to survive that, we've seen some pretty solid racing this entire 20 minutes. We are down below 2 minutes left to go in this race. And it's going to be a good one. Can Zinkov stay in the top 10? Ryabtsev and Below are really fighting it out.
Yeah.
Maxime Below, past Matthew Maple, past Pablo Lopez Garcia, he is trying to be the one who becomes the last-minute challenger to Zinkov for the top 10. But Below has Ryabtsev, so Ryabtsev has the really interesting position here of he's trying to get around Zinkov. He's got the pace. But Below, I think, is a little bit faster than Ryabtsev is, and so Ryabtsev is having to both defend and attack at the same time. And so any amount of fluctuation in Ryabtsev's pace is going to really, really change the type of driving that he's going to be doing real quick. See, right now, he gets a little bit closer to Zinkov, and you can start to see he's trying to find a few of those more aggressive lines. But even now, as we come through to Blanchimont, Below is starting to reel in Ryabtsev a little bit. And so Ryabtsev, you can see, looking in his mirrors and trying to find a defensive line to keep off Below. And you see all of them now starting to tighten up a little bit. And look at that, Below looking towards the outside. And of course, this becomes an S-bend, so the outside becomes the inside here.
Ryabtsev locked the tires.
Yeah. Ryabtsev does. Below didn't have the best corner, like mid corner there, and that allowed Matthew Maple to get even closer than he was. So it's a 4-way battle, and the checkered flag will be out. Sander van Leuven is going through Sector 1 right now, at the end of Sector 1. Thiago Lapa in tow, about 2.5 seconds behind. But yeah, the fight's still here. Look at this for 8th. Montero and Santos, teammates. They both made their way around Zinkov, but now they are neck and neck with each other. Do you think they're going to try to race it, or do you think they're going to stay comfortable where they're at? I guess the question is, how determined is Rui Santos to get 8th?
So it seems as if now Santos is taking it a little bit more easy. There's more space between those two, but I was not sure. I would not have been able to answer that question before seeing Santos getting some air in between.
Well, I think one way or another, they are destined for a really good team photo finish there. But the battle continues as Zinkov does hold off the other drivers in the last little bit here. We're keeping an eye also. I'm looking at Sander van Leuven, who is coming down to the final corner. Van Leuven is about to take it here. And he flashes the lights, and he does it as he crosses the line. Checkered flag for Sander van Leuven.
Reinhardt. Marinopoulos getting into the start and end line. Go.
And Papadopoulos did get around Pavel Ivashkin. So Ivashkin finishes in 5th. James Knox, respectable drive in 6th place. Stavros Sarikast in 7th. And then Montero does stay ahead of Santos. for 8th and 9th, respectively. Vladislav Zinkov, close battle down to the line. It is Zinkov, Ryabtsev, Bolo, and Maple. Zinkov did hold them off, gets his, I believe, first top 10 of the championship.
I was going to say his first end of race of the championship, poor guy. But yeah, whew, that was well earned, well earned. Had really to fight for that. And after this first race is over, we'll have a little warm-up, setup of the server, and then the 40-minute race with one obligatory pit stop will start.
My phone wants to let me know that the Dallas Cowboys are currently leading against the Panthers.
Okay.
American football.
Yeah, yeah,
It
yeah.
just popped up. I thought that was funny. I don't know how it is for German coverage of sports, but on like ESPN and things, they'll like check in on other games that are going on, and it won't even be the same sport a lot of times. Like be watching a football game, and they're like, "Hey, here's how baseball's doing," and sometimes it's like very very strange stuff that like here's like the college lacrosse game or whatever.
No, they do jump. At least I know it from radio. That's the only moment where I inadvertently get into soccer, and they do jump from game to game, but they don't jump from soccer to, I don't know, water polo or something like that. Also because sports news in Germany are soccer, a little bit of soccer, then soccer. And did the Germans win anything else? No? Okay, then soccer.
And then it's all just like Bayern and the Pips, isn't it? Bayern Munich.
Kinda, yeah. Yeah. Mostly. What did I want to say? Yeah. So I don't know why they call it sports, because they only show soccer. Okay, when the Germans were still winning Formula One, they showed a little bit of Formula One, like, oh yeah, in between the soccer news, one of our guys won Formula One. You know, Formula One, the thing with motors. Yeah, okay. Now it's the soccer news. So. And as I'm not interested in any sports that doesn't have a motor, I normally don't follow.
I'm the kind of guy, I like horse racing, but I don't like betting or gambling or anything like that. I just like, I know I know the local stables and stuff. I know who's good, like the good horse trainers and the good breeders and that sort of thing. I only ever really pay attention for the 4th of July. We have a tradition. We go to Lone Star Park for the 4th of July every year and watch the horses race. And so like we know all the good local teams essentially, and so it's funny. The other sport that I follow is also racing, but it's horse racing. I don't follow it like super religiously, really just that one time a year. But every time I revisit it, I surprise myself with how much I know.
I prefer riding the horses or walking beside them than watching horse racing. And horses are amongst the most elegant animals in the world.
Yep, I rode horses for a long time, and that's why my back is bad.
Yeah. we are on the warm-up for the second turn. For a while, I just warmed up horses that were being trained for obstacle. I don't know how you call it when they jump over the diverse obstacles.
Steeplechase?
I don't know. Those animals are trained to react to the slightest movement of your leg, and that was fantastic. They go faster when you go forwards, they go slower when you go backwards. They move to the right when you press a little bit with your right leg, move to the left when you press a little bit with your left leg. You don't use your hands at all.
Yes, yeah. If you're good, and if your horse is good.
And then, of course, the real rider took that animal over the obstacles. That's something that I said, dude, forget it. Don't even think about putting me on the horse for the obstacle. Remember that the positions now that they're gonna take on the grid are gonna be the positions of the qualifier. 1 to 10 without any reverse grid. Any moment now.
As Tom Petty says, the waiting is the hardest part.
And Ryatsev is still out. Maybe the server is waiting for it. It's warm up, so.
Attention grid, will all non-essential personnel leave the grid now?
Alright, cars are setting themselves up on the grid. We're still discussing on Thingy Wingy Discord. That's the name. And now Ryatsev won't have to be fighting Zenkov because he is already in front. For now, let's not jinx it. Introduction lap. Already after La Source taking that straight are already giddy with exhilaration because you know that the next one.
And it just stares you back too.
Yeah. It's like saying, hello, here I am. And you're like, oh my god. Let's see if I'm gonna serve.
It's not that big of a deal until you have someone next to you going down that. And then you're like, how are we both gonna survive this?
Mm-hmm.
Then the panic sets in.
Reinhardt is quite alone there on the position. His team partner is on 7th. It's Van Leuven.
Yeah, I think in terms of teams, we've seen the most consistency overall from, oh gosh, what was Origin Racing. That's the team. We've seen a lot of them up at the front. Although currently, right now, Fabian Walter with Rook Racing, he's joined by his teammate Roy Seifert in 3rd and 2nd, respectively.
Yeah, Origin Racing being 5th and Rook Racing being 3rd in the overall. Is gonna be ending soon. Zenkov and Lopez Garcia are still in pit. That's good.
That is. Zinkov can't catch a break. He's starting from the pits, it looks like.
This is gonna start soon. 40 minutes. 1 minute. Green and nobody slept. All taken part quite well. Whoa, and a little bit of...
Ooh, Stavros Sarakas got a little squirrely there on the start there. That was the interesting bit you saw at the first corner. But we're all making it through. Fingers crossed. Got a little bit more experience starting now, and so we're through without any major issues so far.
Oh, we changed anything?
Getting a little bit squirrely there in mid-pack. Ivashkin, I saw, got stepped the back end out.
No big issues. Oh, and I say it, and what happens? We
big
have
issue.
chaos.
Big issue.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, Paparanopoulos looks to be involved. Oh, big crash. Montero goes flying into the air. Arco Hollistel in that. Thiago Lapa in that as well. That was teammates. Oh, that was teammates.
Holy macaroni.
Nick Stepanenko, race organizer, he got put hard into the wall in that incident. I don't even know where to begin on finding how that happened. But definitely, oh man.
Yeah, one of the cars got squirrely, touched another one. That I think it was Stepanenko or Monteiro threw them completely out of order, and then the pins started. We have Serafim, Stepanenko, and Monteiro DNFing. Not the finish that Monteiro would have. Yeah.
No, certainly not. Yeah, we were talking about Origin Racing being very consistent, and that was, I think, the first major issue that we've seen of theirs. Thiago Lapa, Paparanopoulos both come into pit. They were able to continue going, but very clearly they picked up some heavy damage over the course of that race. Oh man, there hasn't been a whole lot of race so far. That's the second lap. But we come around to the third lap, and life goes on. And the front end is looking very pink as Fabian Walter, Roy Seifert keep up their pace. Looks like all of the incidents happened behind them, so not even sure they're aware that all went on.
Well, you try not to be.
The ignorant bliss of being quick.
Yeah. That's what she said.
Oh, I wouldn't know.
Meanwhile, we're seeing Seifert, Riadze, Pushlev, and Knox being near enough to each other that they could pounce at every issue that any of the others would.
Yeah, we're starting to see kind of two groups form here. There's kind of the leaders there, first through fifth, are all kind of in a bunch. And then you see a bit more spread out. I say a bit. There's still about 2 seconds apart from each other each, but you get about 9 seconds back behind the leaders, and then you start to get another big group, starting from 10th place, Matthew Maple, all the way down to 17th place of Vladislav Zenkov, who started at the back and has avoided miraculously that big crash, and so he's gained some positions from the start.
From surviving.
Yes. Seifert holding off Ryabtsev. Ryabtsev, in contrast to how we saw him earlier this season at the Red Bull Ring, where he was doing a lot of defending, he's been doing a lot of chasing this race. He was chasing Zenkov all last race, and then this time around he is chasing Seifert. Really has him in his sights.
Marinopoulos out of pits with 1 lap down. La Paz. battling for 13th, we have Uhilal, Suvik, Shalomanov, Garcia, and Zenko. And Lapa DNFs.
Fortunate ends for those Origin Racing drivers. Rui Santos, though, still on track. He's an Origin Racing driver. He's currently sitting in 11th.
And we are watching Seifert and Riyad. And behind Seifert, there's a small train building up with Ryatsev, Krushtolev, and Knox. Lopez Garcia in pits. And Beaulieu on the Camel Street trying to get... Yes, he got in front of Santos. Clean.
That's a really good spot to pass, for sure.
Yeah.
Paranopoulos is in. No, he's not in pits. That's my timing screen going haywire.
Yeah.
He is a lap down.
Correct.
The repairs that he had to do from that initial incident were substantial, clearly, but he's back out on track.
I mean, if he changed tires and is confident to be able to stick on those tires, which I wouldn't, then he just did his pit stop. But as I said, I don't think that's going to be the case. 35 minutes on the same set of tires.
Although from 19th and a lap down, it might be worth the gamble. From 19th, you're not going to win, but with that strategy, you might pick up a few places.
Yeah. You see Ryatsev trying to get away around Seifert, but for now, not finding it. Wow, Zenkov gets turned around by Holestele.
Poor Vladislav Zenkov. Cannot go through a race weekend without incident.
Yep.
That is Stavros Sarikas. Some racing Arion. Specified. Benjamin Reinhardt holding off Fabian Walter. He has maintained the lead since the start of the race. Well, not quite the very start of the race, but since lap 1 at least.
And Sarika's DNFs. Although by this time in the race, on the first race, we had more DNFs.
That's true. That's true. But this race is twice as long as the previous race. So at this rate of attrition, there will be more. But I don't think we're going to see any, first or second lap crashes in this case, with the magnitude that we saw before.
Krushtolev and Knox. Oh, I see Reinhardt getting very near to Walter getting very near to Reinhardt, but still not being able to get the position. And for now, it doesn't look as if Walter is doing any defensive moves. Also because you don't want to go defensive on overs. Walter's gonna try to overtake Reinhardt off on the outside. And I don't think he's gonna make it. Nope. But Camel Straight is of course the perfect moment to activate DRS.
If only DTM cars had it.
They had it. These DTM cars, yeah.
These cars?
Yeah. The last, I think, 3 or 4 seasons of DTM had DRS. And this mod does have a DRS, and drivers are allowed to use it. The only thing is that, unluckily, R Factor 2 does not show us when DRS is activated. But they have it, and they are allowed to use it. And if they have it the same way that the DTM had it, DTM allowed drivers to use DRS at any point of the race for about half of the laps that a race would take. You only had to be at a certain distance from the driver in front of you. And I think it was... No, I don't remember right now. I would have to look it up. But it's... You had to be near another driver and then you could activate it, and you could activate it... Oh! Walter... No, it looked as if Walter was going to take the inside line, but he preferred not to go there on the bus stop chicane. Still, Walter is being quite dangerous to Reinhardt. And by the way, you don't see it on the images because that's not something that R Factor 2 shows. Unluckily. I think Race Room shows it. But...
To Assetto Corsa, because it shows it as well.
Yeah. And Race Room, I think, does too.
Yes.
Walter once again trying to overtake on the Camel Street. Once again, not being able to. But still, normally it's more stressful and consuming for the one in front than for the one following. So if he keeps behind Reinhardt long enough, maybe he'll be able to make Reinhardt nervous or tired. One of both.
Both of these drivers will have to do a pit stop at some point as well. We have 25 minutes left to go in this race, so the pit window is the whole race of like when you can come in, but ideally you're coming in at about the midway point. So we're getting to the point where these guys will be entering the pit stop shuffle, as I like to call it, and so we can see a change of lead in that as well, depending on how long these guys take in the pits. They've raced pretty much damage-free this whole time, so I think it'll be about the same, but... oh, big lock from Benjamin Reinhardt. And Fabian Walter gets ever closer. And of course they're going to rubber band a little bit.
Hi, Thiago. Unlucky that you had to DNF, but that was a big hit.
Yeah, massive crash. Massive crash.
Sad to see that.
Thanks for joining into the stream. Unfortunately, as a passenger instead of a driver, but we are happy to have you nonetheless.
If you want to, you can even come into the commentator booth, Thiago.
Mm-hmm. if you like.
Sure. No obligation.
Benjamin Reinhardt still holds the best lap at 2 minutes 8.0 091, but you know, 2 minutes 8. Yeah, yada yada. But he has been joined in the sub 2 minute 9 club by all of the top 6 drivers and nobody 7th or below. So that's quite interesting to me because that clearly shows what the competitive pace is. If you can run sub 2 minute 9, then currently you are in the top 6. If you cannot, then you are not going to be in the top 6.
That's quite competitive times.
Oh, incredibly.
Diego won't be joining us because he rage quit R Factor 2, which I can understand.
I get it.
And
I get
it.
Totally.
He'll be watching the stream.
Oh, Walter getting alongside.
Oh, that's
man.
rough. That was a rough
Reinhardt
overtake.
gave him no space. But Walter does get around Reinhardt because by giving him no space, he went wide, and Walter was able to slip through. So
yeah,
he got it done.
That was a sledgehammer overtake.
Sledgehammer is a great description for that one.
Oh yeah. Knox in pits. First one who starts the pit stop shuffle. Well, we hope, Thiago, that you don't have an opportunity to join the commentator next week because you'll be racing, but you never know. Zenkov in pits. And Walter is now in a sandwich between Reinhardt is now in a sandwich between Walter and Seifert.
Yes, it's looking very very pink and gray in the top top 3.
That would be a straight pick. And for now, this is the hottest situation of the whole race, this sandwich. Sledgehammer sandwich. Going to play the song that would be too dirty. You would get demonetized.
Well, I can say that Reinhardt goes into the pits.
Yep.
And that becomes the first of your leaders to do so.
Which is not surprising. When you're in such a situation, you say, okay, I get out of traffic to the under.
He is followed though by Ryabtsev, Krushtalev, and
Ivashkin and Santos.
Pavel Ivashkin, yeah. And Ivashkin looked like he was about to come out ahead of Krushtalev, which would have been very interesting.
And Sulik also in pits. So they all decided on 20 minutes. They decided to go in like almost to the second at the middle of the race.
Like you should. That's the word. Overtake that, but that's generally the way to do it.
Meanwhile, Krushtalev is trying to get the better of Knox. Oh, and giving him a love tap.
James Knox Knox. He was the first of the top 10 to come into pit. So he's actually out on his fresh set of tires to take to the end of the race.
At least that's what we all hope for him.
Khrushchev having come out of the race as well, he's in line with Knox. Lomanov, I don't believe, has pit yet. Reinhardt has, Matthew
so.
Maple has not, Below has not, Van Leuven has definitely not, neither has Seifert and Walter. But Seifert just now comes in. Yep.
Oh, and there's a driver. Chalomonov? Where's that?
I think Shalomonov and Ryabtsev were racing, and Shalomonov used all the space, and that called a yellow. Used all the space for call it. Below comes in, Shalomonov comes in. Van Leuven as well comes in. So notable drivers staying out is Walter and Reinhardt. Reinhardt, you're in line, second place. Walter, your inline leader.
No, Reinhardt already went into
inline.
pits. Reinhardt already went into pits. Yeah.
Oh, okay, okay.
Remember
Seifert?
that I said he was
Seifert
Seifert was into pits. Walter has not been into pits.
Yeah, you are correct. Yeah, he was one of the early ones.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
Like he was in that sandwich and said, you know what, I'm gonna take new tires. Maybe I'm gonna make a better time this way. And
Walter,
I expect,
though, has not come into pits.
I expect him to do that now at the end of these laps.
So that's a good bet. He's got 22 seconds of gap, 22.8 seconds of gap now. So that is his insurance.
Yep.
To take a pit stop and still come out ahead of Reinhardt. And then the way the intervals are looking, on average 2 seconds that he comes out all the way through 6th place, every 2 seconds extra, he's going to lose a position. So, Fabian Walter, will he come in? He does.
Yes, as was to be expected.
Locks the tires before the line. That's fine. At this point, they're sacrificial tires.
Exactly. This point
braking zone. There's tires changing. Interval is coming down 1 second. 0.4. Reinhardt goes past. Reinhardt takes the lead from Walter.
Huh.
Seifert goes past.
Oh.
Walter comes out right behind Roy Seifert, and it's going to be a fight.
Didn't expect Reinhardt to take the position, but it's not surprising.
Yeah, Walter, this was why I was very excited to follow this, because he had quite a bit of space, but it was going to be really close. And yeah, he comes out, falls right in line, splits the difference between Seifert and Ryabtsev.
Meanwhile, Knox and Khrushchev are still on it.
Yes, they are. This is the battle for 5th place. James Knox, Dalma Auto Racing. We didn't talk too much about him in the first race, but it came away with, I believe, a 6th place finish. Very respectable drive.
Yeah.
And Alpa Racing, Jaroslav Khrushchev is chasing him down. He wants that top 5. 0.298 seconds away right now.
Have to restart the overlay because Alpha 2 is beyond Alpha 2. It was showing 2 other drivers still in pits, you know, or R factor 2 something. Whoa!
Ooh, bit of a touch there.
Yeah.
Knox stays ahead of Khrushchev through that, which is for the best if you're race control. You don't have to hand anything out necessarily. But Khrushchev goes down, and I think there was a bit of a touch on the back of Knox, and that set Knox a little bit loose. He was already trying to get on the gas, and then just got a little bit of extra thrust, and that was enough to loosen the back of the car. But Knox stays ahead of Khrushchev, but that allowed Khrushchev to get right alongside Knox and get in his draft through a Rouge Radeon. So now they are alongside.
But Khrushchev cannot make it.
He cannot.
Whoa!
Another slide from Knox there. That's
But
one of
this
those
time-
moments.
This time all on his own. No love tap.
Yes, yeah, these cars have a lot of power, and Knox going through there trying to do the quick change and get back on the power after the corner. Those quick change turns. That's something that if you're driving this car kind of liberally, that's what it'll look like for sure.
Yep.
Takes a lot of skill to drive these cars really, really well. It is fun to drive these cars in any capacity. I highly recommend it if you get the chance.
These Class 1 DTMs were the nearest to a Formula 1 car that you could get in touring cars. And they were safer than Formula 1 cars. Which is saying a
It was
lot.
nearly the pace of
Yeah.
the Formula 1 car,
Yeah,
is
yeah.
it not?
Yeah. The difference is, of course, the momentum. They weigh much more than a Formula 1 car. Yeah. They were not exactly the same. Whoa!
Khrushchev hardened the brakes and turning, and I think panicking a little bit because Knox took that corner a bit slower. Khrushchev ends up sliding and losing some serious time to Knox.
On the other hand, still staying behind Knox and not losing more positions.
That is true.
But I suppose that his wheel is now gonna be vibrating on him. Because if he
Yes,
didn't
from
flat spot
locking the
those
tires.
tires, if he did not flat spot those tires. So yeah, the Class 1 DTMs were almost at the pace of Formula 1s, and that even being heavier, and we're more secure. The FIA had a couple of meetings with engineers of DTM to learn about the security measures that DTM had in place. Oh, Knox really losing control there, going for a little bit of lawn mowing. That
allows Khrushchev to get closer, ever closer. He's within a half a second now. He had dropped down to over a second back. He's able to more than halve that.
I suppose that was just... we are 30 minutes in the race, and at some point you start getting tired. And I suppose that was just a little moment that he had there.
Khrushchev looking towards the outside line here, going in. Ooh!
And
taps
he
Knox.
makes it.
And I think I don't think that was a like a racing issue necessarily that the stewards are going to have a look at, but it was
Nah.
it was definitely something that caught Knox off guard,
Yeah.
and Khrushchev was able to pass.
Yeah, I would say that that was just the as I always say, DTM is a contact sport.
Rubbin's racing, boys,
Yeah.
as we say in NASCAR, of course.
Ekström, one of I think he won 2 series of DTM, at least one. He always said go hard or go home. And Knox retakes his position. Now has to be on the hunt once again.
Very smoothly, all that.
Oh yeah. So we keep watching Khrushchev and Knox, because that's where the most action is. Reinhardt keeping his first position with Seifert almost a second away and Walter not far away from him. Hey, look at that. Paparinopoulos unlapped himself. And Khrushchev trying to find a way around. And again,
And
yes.
he does it. Yeah. And Knox, you can see he had the overspeed to get past Khrushchev, but he had to get back into the brakes there, or else he would have run into the back of Khrushchev, and that was something he didn't want to do. And so Knox loses a little bit more time to Khrushchev. That gap has now grown to 3/4 of a second.
Hard racing, but not unfair racing.
Yeah, it's certainly been very, very fair racing between these guys. I think there's been some touches, but
As I said,
they have been understandable
sport.
touches. Yeah.
and contact sport.
Yes.
Sure.
Oh, yeah.
Seifert getting very near to Reinhardt. With 6 minutes to go, maybe the first place is again in contention.
Yeah, don't count Walter out as well. He's been also inching closer. He's got about the same gap that Knox and Khrushchev have.
Seifert is getting ever so near to Reinhardt and
They're halfway alongside. It's anybody's game now. And it's Seifert for the moment, but that can change. It's Reinhardt. It's still anyone's game. Seifert has the overspeed and the inside line, but that could be... Oh boy, that could be anything. Reinhardt forces Seifert still to stay on the inside, and Seifert is able to take advantage. And look at that. I said don't count Walter out. Walter and Reinhardt are halfway alongside.
Oh.
And whoa! Reinhardt closes the door on Walter and forces Walter to get out of the gas a little bit in order to just not take both of them out. That was a suicidal move from Reinhardt. Walter has got the lights on. 3 Mercedes coming in to... oh God, I have to forget the corner names. But Reinhardt is now defending from Walter, more so than he's trying to chase Seifert.
I think
And
he's
look at
trying
that,
both,
Walter
which is
closing the-
difficult.
Yes, yeah, and he's got the added disadvantage of these guys are teammates, so they
Yeah.
are working together against him.
Exactly.
Reinhardt here is the only drivers in frame at all right now, a big gap between them all. So Reinhardt has 2 enemies and no friends right now coming into the last 4 minutes of the race. And these guys have been running together all day.
Yeah.
And it is seriously coming to a head down to the wire here
Oh.
for the win.
Reinhardt goes a little bit onto the gravel. Suppose
Walter's
Walter's gonna...
swinging out.
Yeah.
Gets alongside Reinhardt. Was forced to the outside line. Walter has the inside line. Sparks fly, and they still stay tied halfway alongside of each other. Reinhardt with the inside line here. Walter slight advantage ahead. Maybe a slight touch there. Reinhardt getting forced out. Walter takes the lead of Reinhardt, not the race. That's Seifert, who, as these guys battle, is only getting further and further ahead. Reinhardt goes to the inside, locks the tires in a desperate attempt to overtake, but does not. Bump, 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 as he goes now with that locked front tire. Has flat spotted that thing for sure.
Yeah.
Sparks fly for both cars as they go through Ridiano Rouge. 2 minutes, 39 seconds left to go in this race. And it's heated up. Woo!
Oh yeah. Because
think this is a
Reinhardt
panini.
is not letting go.
It's a panini because it's heating up and the pressure's on.
Yeah. And Reinhardt retakes his position, but Walter is
Walter
not
alongside
yeah.
for a really tricky spot to be alongside another driver on. Really demonstrating the skill of both of these drivers here. Reinhardt miraculously has held on to second place despite Walter's challenges. 2 minutes flat left to go in this race. It is anyone's game for second place. Seifert 2.5 seconds ahead. He has only gained and gained on these two drivers as they duke it out. You can really see in real time how battling it out can slow both drivers down, but it sure doesn't look slow, that's for sure. Look at these guys,
absolutely.
Walter and Reinhardt, continuing one hell of a fight. My goodness.
A lot going on here. And we know that Van Leuven and
Walter
Santos...
looks toward the inside. Take a look at this one. Walter, hey, maybe has got it. Alongside Reinhardt, the outside line becomes the inside line on Spa a lot. And so now going in, whoo, bit of a, like Reinhardt, he caught the very edge of the rumble strip and that turned him in. It looked like a hit, but it wasn't. But that was just Reinhardt really suddenly changing directions as he hit the curb. But Walter used that change of momentum to really, really take the lead. Look at that. Now there's almost a second between them. Only a couple of corners ago, they were neck and neck, side by side. And now, look at that, Walter gaining on them. And look, now both of them have to try and catch Seifert. They have only this lap to do it. 30 seconds is not going to be enough. They have one time around, less than one time around. Seifert here is in the lead. He has not been in first for most of this race, but just here in the last few laps, he was able to take it, and it looks like he's going to hold on to it as the battle continues behind him. Walter, one of your leaders, took it away from longtime leader Reinhardt. Now is in second place, and I don't know what this. It's anybody's guess on who's going to win, but with a 1 second and growing gap, it's looking pretty confident that Fabian Walter is going to have won that battle for second place and is going to maintain it here to the end. But of course, don't quote me on that. Anybody's game. Roman Ryabtsev in fourth place. Yaroslav Khrushchev in fifth place with James Knox 2 seconds back, still fending off successfully Maxime Boulot That race cooled off a little bit more recently. Ivashkin, though, Pavel Ivashkin in 8th place is holding off Sander van Leuven down to the line here in the last little bit of driving. Roy Seifert has but one important S-bend left to go in this race. And then he is your winner of the 40-minute race 2 here at Spa for the ASRC.
Ooh.
It's Roy Seifert.
Walter second, Reinhard third.
Ryabtsev comes in very respectable 4th place. That was not super easy either. Khrushchev now comes in, getting a little bit of slidey style there for 5th. James Knox fending off Bolo through to the end, and it's a hard fight. Did I see a pass there for Ivashkin? I think Ivashkin may have been... Yeah, Ivashkin got passed and got sent all the way down into 10th and slams into the back of Sander van Leuven past the finish line. He was not happy with that one. Yeah, Ivashkin was in 8th place and on the very last corner, I think got pushed out of the way by Van Leuven. I was looking a little bit ahead on the track, but I saw it in the background. And yeah, I think Ivashkin's going to have some words about the final finishing order of that race. That is for sure. But Ivashkin, at least in the current writing on the wall, Ivashkin comes in 10th place. Rui Santos came in 9th place. I think maybe avoiding being involved in that incident. I think that was between Van Leuven and Ivashkin. Ivashkin certainly thought so, having slammed into the back of Sander Van Leuven that way. And Matthew Maple rounds out in 11th. We've been talking about him a little bit, so good to mention where he finishes as well, even though it's just outside the top 10.
And I'm trying to organize the interviews at the end of the race. I've invited Seifert as the winner of the race, and then Khrushchev and Knox, who had us glued to the race for a long time. Let's see if they can make it. And we have Seifert. Congratulations on the win.
Thank you.
So, how difficult was it?
there?
Yeah, exactly.
You mean the main race or the sprint race? So my sprint race wasn't that long. So
Yeah, no, the main race.
yeah, the main race. I would say top 5, top 6 we're all on the same level in terms of pace. So this was all about strategy. When do we want to pit? Do we want to pit after Benjamin or in front? And we decided to go after, so we have the better tires at the end, and turned out pretty well with Fabian getting the second too. So 1-2 for my team. Pretty
Okay,
good.
so you were just biding your time behind Reinhard until the last. Yeah, it looked very much like that, but you never know. So it was strategy. Well done, guys. Well done.
Thank you.
So, and I suppose the pit stop was also strategized, like who goes first, who goes. Then
Yeah, we talked about that in front of the race, in front of the sprint race, and Fabian said to me, "Yeah, I mean, you're the guy fighting for the championship. So whatever happens, you go in first." So yeah, and at the end, I mean, he would have swapped with me, nevertheless, if he is in front or not. So yeah, I'm pretty happy to have him around. in my team. Yeah, so he was the guy who decided the strategy today, and he made a good call.
Night.
By the way, do you saw my crash in sprint race?
Yes. Yeah.
I don't know.
That was an interesting one.
Yeah, it came out of nowhere. It came out of the first corner, and then there were two cars going from all the left to the right, and just kicked me and Thiago Montero out of the race. So
Yeah, that was a hard hit. Montero went flying, I believe. I think he was the one. He got some. I don't know how you saw it, but he got some serious air on our screens.
yeah, I saw that. Yeah, I don't know how he feels after I take him out in 2 out of 4 races. So
Oh.
yeah, he in the Moscow main race, he already texted me like, "Yeah, man, you ruined my race," and I'm sorry. And now after that, I mean, it's not my fault, but still, he would be more surprised than I was when I just get bumped from the left.
Well,
In any case, yeah.
Yep.
Go ahead, Cody.
Well, I was gonna say maybe a bump draft on the start next time would make it up to him.
So congratulations on that great strategy and on the first position. And James Knox, has come into the paddock. He was asking if he was in trouble. No, mate, we want to have you here because you had an excellent battle for at least half of the race with, I think it was Khrushchev. So that was fantastic. That was a beauty to see.
Yeah, it was good fun. I mean, this is my first race in this league, so to have racing like that, it's probably some of the best I've ever had. Yeah.
Yeah, Below was giving you a run for your money there, really trying to reel you in. But yeah, you held them off very, very well, very professionally. A lot of contact in DTM in this series. You guys kept it pretty clean overall, and overall.
yeah.
Don't forget, it's a contact sport, so there's no like look, in football they exchange the tricots at the end of the game. In DTM they exchange some paint during the race. So hey, but yeah, it was a beauty to see. It was hard fought. At the end, you didn't get keep in front of Khrushchev, but it was fantastic to see.
He did keep in front of Below.
Yeah, but not in front of
who was battling for the second half of the race at least.
Yeah, it was good fun. Very intense. I've never raced these cars before, so I didn't want to punt him off by accident, or I was trying to be as careful as I could.
So you did very well, and
yeah.
we hope to see you in the next one.
Congratulations!
Like what we saw.
Congratulations on the 6th place on your first race in this series and your first race on a DTM car.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Yeah, great level that we're seeing here. All right, so that has been this race. Next week, Hockenheimring, the last race of this season of the T5 series, which is the DTM cars from URD. Until next time, save fuel, collect pickup, and we'll see each other at the podium. Bye!
Bye!